This is Texas News Now, sponsored by Germania Insurance.
In Austin, I'm Quita Culpepper. 27 years after their arrests, a Travis County judge has now declared 4 men who were wrongfully accused in Austin's infamous yogurt shop murders innocent.
No ruling can restore the time taken from you. No judgment can fully remedy the burden that you have carried, but the court can and does state without qualification or hesitation that you are cleared and that your innocence is affirmed.
Judge Dana Blasey, Maurice Pierce, Michael Scott, Robert Springsteen, and Forrest Wellborn are now no longer linked to the 1991 murders of Eliza Thomas, Amy Ayers, and Sarah and Jennifer Harbison. Their families hugged, held hands, and some cried after the judge announced their innocence. APD walked through how they ultimately tied a serial killer to the crimes, and on the stand, families talked about how this case changed their lives. Prosecutors read a statement from Robert Springsteen in which he said his wrongful arrest and conviction turned his life into chaos, and he was branded a monster for something he didn't do. A representative for Forrest Wellborn echoed that statement, saying the case cost him the chance to build a life and start a family. And Michael Scott himself took the stand to say he lost his youth.
Every day I have carried the weight of a crime I did not commit. No court ruling can return the years and the love that were taken from me, but it can acknowledge the truth. I am not guilty.
To every person.
After the hearing, District Attorney Jose Garza issued a formal apology to the 4 men, saying he hopes the hearing brings them the peace they deserve. Scott's attorney says they accept that apology.
Mike Scott accepts the apology from the District Attorney of Travis County, and I can tell you this: we must learn from this and support organizations like the Innocence Project of Texas, because these things are still going on. We can't blind ourselves to that fact.
After the hearing, Amy Ayers' family said they never wanted anyone to be wrongfully convicted for her murder. In a statement they wrote, quote, "Today represents yet another painful chapter in this decades-long saga. As Amy's mother, Pam Ayers, has said, every time something happens in this case, it forces her to relive the horrific night of December 6th, 1991. Going forward, Scott's attorney says they are considering filing a civil lawsuit in federal court to seek restitution for these men and their loved ones. The UT System's Board of Regents approved a new policy that's getting a lot of attention in the education community. System leaders approved a policy that creates new guidelines for teaching controversial and contested subjects in the classroom. Reporter Daniel Perot explains.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
The UT System adopting a new policy requiring faculty to take a broad and balanced approach to teaching controversial or contested issues.
This ensures we enrich and develop our students into thoughtful citizens who are prepared to enter the workforce.
The policy states faculty have a responsibility to foster a welcoming environment for all views, mandating they fairly present different theories and scholarly evidence, allow students to make their own conclusions, and avoid controversial topics not relevant to the course material. The guidance says institution leaders should seek balance in their faculty bodies and curriculum to ensure students are exposed to various viewpoints.
Our institutions must make a principled determination on when controversial material is required for a degree in a field of study or is available as an elective credit.
The UT System's decision comes as public universities are under pressure from state leaders. Unlike the ones at other systems in Texas, the new UT policy does not explicitly ban the teaching of certain topics.
It's become much more hostile to teaching and learning.
Ravi Prakash is a UT Dallas computer science professor who spoke to us in his capacity as a private citizen. He worries about a lack of definition about what is controversial.
That can result in self-censorship by faculty. It will have a chilling effect on what can and cannot be taught.
Prakash says it effectively limits the ability of faculty to even respond to student questions.
Faculty members will have to cut discussion short because they don't want to go into that territory.
As pressure mounts to root out what Republicans call indoctrination on college campuses, some professors are left wondering how this new policy will be enforced.
Students who pay significant amount of money to go to Texas universities will suffer as a result.
And that was Daniel Perot reporting. It will be up to the system's 14 universities to interpret this new policy, and it's not clear when it will go into effect. Austin is celebrating a historic cabin's restoration as part of Black History Month. The cabin is located in Rosewood Park in East Austin. It was originally built by Henry Green Madison shortly after he arrived in Austin in 1865. Madison was born enslaved in 1843 and later became Austin's first African-American city council member, serving from 1871 to 1872. The restoration improved the doors, windows, walls, and the roof, and also updated the cabin to meet accessibility standards. The Austin Parks Foundation provided $55,000 for this project and also received more than $376,000 in grants for it. Officials with the Parks Foundation say this makes sure the important cultural landmark is around for future generations. TxDOT wants to get more input on a project to prepare an 8-mile stretch of US 77 in Lee County. Daniel Gomez caught up with drivers earlier today and shares their concerns.
It's a long road ahead to the future of US Highway 77 in Lee County.
I take back roads, if possible, to avoid 77.
Kaylin Kaltwalser describes how busy Giddings is nowadays.
It's a lot of congestion,
And she wants change.
People are traveling from Austin or Houston, and there's already a lot of congestion. So now when you add 77 onto it, I just feel like it's just gotten a lot more chaotic.
It seems a little quiet here on this stretch of US 77 in Lee County, but TxDOT says that more cars have been coming up and down this corridor in recent years, and they suspect that more cars will be coming through here in the years to come. For years, Kellen Moorman with TxDOT has been tracking the pattern of growth.
We tend to identify problems well in advance and start studying them for solutions.
And that solution is to have work done on 8 miles of US Highway 77 from FM 2440 to State Highway 21. The key points of this project are to improve mobility, efficiency, and safety.
Medians do help because they create a separation between the directions of traffic on the roadway. But there are other improvements that we look at as well to reduce different kinds of crashes, not just head-on crashes.
Other proposed changes include adding lanes that help with entering and exiting the highway, also adding turnarounds along US 77.
I'm on these roads around here probably 4 times a week.
Nate Hartsock doesn't drive US 77, but he does deliver gas, and he's in favor of any changes that can improve road conditions.
I guess just barrage of bad drivers out there. It's very difficult to drive and navigate any type of road.
TxDOT had a meeting with the community back in 2023 and looks to finalize plans after its Thursday meeting. TxDOT is still a little ways away from breaking ground. In the meantime, the conversation with Lee County communities continues. Daniel Gomez, KV News.
And those are the headlines in Austin. I'm Quita Culpepper.
Hello there, I'm Mia Gradney with a look at what's making headlines in Houston, starting with the family of a man found hanging and partially burned beneath a Houston freeway. They are now speaking out after an autopsy resulted in an undetermined cause of death. That's despite loved ones being convinced foul play was involved. Jason Miles has more on this story.
I first covered this story just before Halloween last year, and the details of this father of two's death are definitely gruesome. It's been nearly 4 months since a man who struggled with homelessness and other issues was found dead in this encampment near a train yard off the North Loop. This is video from the night HFD initially responded to reports of a possible brush fire. But when firefighters extinguished the flames, they discovered the charred body of 45-year-old Jeremy Carnes hanging beneath the freeway.
It was so hard not to get my birthday phone call. It was so hard not to give him his birthday phone call. But he deserved better.
Sister Camilla Kidd spoke with me from Kansas about the medical examiner ruling her brother's manner and cause of death as undetermined, something we found out about just this week.
I don't know. I don't have words for it. So I guess I could say on the outside I'm great, on the inside not so much.
Kidd says her brother was deathly afraid of fire since an incident as a child. And initially, HPD told us suicide appeared to be impossible given the circumstances. The family suspects multiple people may have been involved in whatever happened to Carnes.
Just because of the information that was given to me by people that won't talk to the police. So, you know. I get it.
Autopsy experts tell me an undetermined finding is a valid scientific conclusion used when evidence is insufficient, conflicting, or lost, and potentially obstructed by things like thermal injuries. In a statement, the Harris County Institute of Forensic Sciences said, quote, undetermined is used when the information pointing to one manner of death is no more compelling than one or more other competing manners of death when all available information is considered. If more information is uncovered later that provides evidence of a specific manner or cause of death, it will be considered for possible amendment.
I thank God that they at least did this so it maybe in the future he can get his justice. If I'm here for it or not.
Kidd tells me her brother's dog that was eventually recovered after his death has since had puppies being shared amongst family members as a way to remember Carnes. Meanwhile, I reached out to HPD to try and get an update on the investigation, but have yet to hear back. Reporting on the Northeast Side, Jason Miles, KHOU 11 News.
Now to a major bust in Hitchcock, where the Galveston County Sheriff's Office raided more than a dozen businesses suspected of illegal gambling. But one of the people arrested happens to be the mayor of Hitchcock. Anieli Ruiz has those details.
Well, we're told yesterday they also served a search warrant here at City Hall. It's unclear what they were looking for.
This normally quiet little town of Hitchcock was turned upside down yesterday. The Galveston County Sheriff's Office raided 20 locations alleged to be operating illegal gambling establishments.
There was 3 or 4 sheriff cars here, and every game room from when I got off 45, 204, all the way out to the Blend base.
And several people were arrested, including the mayor of Hitchcock, Chris Armacost. According to the sheriff, he's facing a charge of engaging in organized criminal activity. His business was one of the places hit. You can see 5 machines were taken from this place. But for residents here, these game rooms are the norm.
You can literally go to any store around here and they're just there. Well, we didn't think anything of it, but just a part of life out here.
Do you know if some of these places do hand out cash? Have you heard of that?
I'm pretty sure they do. I know they hand out vouchers.
Many people don't feel like it's a problem.
Gambling doesn't bother me.
The city of Hitchcock regulates these machines. City ordinance says if you have less than 5, you pay $100 per machine annually. 6 or more machines, you are classified as a game room and pay $1,000 annually plus $100 per machine. The ordinance also specifies that machines must reward players only with non-cash merchandise prizes. Last year, the revenue for these machines brought in about $844,000. That's roughly 11% of the city budget. With this raid, the city could feel a serious financial impact.
But just legalize it, maybe make it more established.
We reached out to the city for comment. The city manager says the city of Hitchcock is taking these allegations very seriously. Regarding the arrest of the mayor, the city is currently reviewing all legal and administrative protocols. The mayor also works for the school district. They sent out this statement saying they're aware of the recent arrest. He remains an employee of the district as we're reviewing all applicable information and could not comment any further.
Now, I did speak with the Galveston County Sheriff over the phone. He tells me they're currently working with the DA's office on the charges that will be filed, but he also said the city could be implicated in this. He said more information will be released tomorrow during a press conference. Anieli Ruiz, KHOU 11 News.
Now to folks in Dickinson Bayou who are enjoying quite the sight this week. Bioluminescence has been very active. Matt Doherty made the trip down to Dickinson to see the phenomenon for himself.
Our neighbors who have been here for 30 plus years have never experienced it.
Since last week, this piece of Dickinson Bayou behind the home of Judd and Twee Gottlieb has become a little bit more colorful.
Neon blue.
On Friday night, Twee saw a post on social media saying something strange was happening to the water in the bayou.
Coolest thing I've ever seen. And we had never heard of it, so we ran down in our underwear, splashed around in the water, filmed it, and then posted it on Facebook.
Yeah, and it was bright blue, so we were actually down here like children splashing each other with the paddles. It was pretty unbelievable, actually.
The phenomenon the Gottliebs are witnessing is called bioluminescence. It happens when some marine organisms produce a bright light as a defense mechanism. The light can startle predators or draw in larger predators to attack them. Tonight, we weren't sure if we were going to get the same show the couple had been witnessing for almost a week. We waited until it got dark, and sure enough, as soon as I started dragging the net through the water, the neon blue light appeared.
People are trying to come in from out of town.
Yeah.
Now the Gottliebs say everyone wants to see the bright blue phenomenon. They say they're not sure how much longer it'll stick around, so until it fades, they'll be out here every night as soon as it gets dark, so they can enjoy a few moments of magic in the Dickinson Bayou for as long as it lasts. In Galveston County, I'm Matt Doherty, KHOU 11 News.
Such a special sight. And with that, that's a wrap of your Houston headlines. I'm Mia Gradney.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at germaniainsurance.com.
Okay, let's look at the forecast, which will be changeable as we head into the weekend with the drop in temps, especially north half of the state. Friday, we stay warm. South Texas, Del Mar 89, Falfurrias 90, Zapata 92. Southeast Texas, murky, scattered little rain showers off and on from Galveston to Crockett. Otherwise, a slight chance for rain. And coastal fog will be an issue for the Galveston coast as well. San Antonio 78, Austin cloudy 67, Houston 80 with a slight chance for a scattered shower Friday. Dallas, more clouds than a rain chance, mostly cloudy 65 in Big D. Tyler, sprinkles possible 65. Sulphur Springs 61 on Friday. Stephenville 62. And the Panhandle already getting chilly. High temps 54. Dumas, Amarillo 55. Childress 57. There'll continue to be a wind threat out in West Texas, which means the fire danger is elevated. Windy in West Texas as well. Van Horn 73. El Paso 67. San Angelo 73, Fort Stockton 79. This is Friday. We look at the outlook for the fire weather. This is Friday into Saturday. Amarillo to Oklahoma City. Critical fire danger, elevated fire danger, Lubbock to San Angelo, out to the Pecos and near El Paso and Presidio. Be careful with anything that can burn. This is the big change coming across the state Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Frontal boundary advances through North Texas Friday night, and by Saturday noon, the front is already down to the coast of Texas. So by Saturday, the door is already open to this cooler weather to be coming in across central and North Texas. You'll get a north wind, Abilene, Lubbock, and Dallas, and then some light showers possible along the coast ahead of the front Saturday noon. The front pushes off the coast and out to sea into the Gulf by Saturday night. That opens the door to the cool and chilly conditions to come in across most of the state. As far as rainfall with this front, not much. Friday afternoon, a little scattered shower possible, Port Lavaca to Houston. That's about it, and not much to it. And then Saturday morning, again, a few little scattered showers, coastal bend of Texas. As the front pushes in, the rest of us are bone dry. You'll already be chilly Saturday morning from San Angelo up to Amarillo, and that dry northerly flow will be coming in Saturday afternoon. Rain totals through Saturday, really through the weekend, are nothing really. That's a trace, less than 1/10 of an inch, I think, from Corpus to Houston through Sunday. Temperatures Friday afternoon, so Del Rio 80, San Antonio 70, Victoria 78, high of 50 Amarillo, and then Friday night, colder air comes into North Texas. You drop to 22 by Saturday morning, Amarillo. Lubbock near freezing, 33 in the morning. San Angelo 42. Everybody here with a north wind. Still a little southwest breeze Saturday morning. Victoria 67, Houston 69. And will warm across the southern half of Texas to near 80 Saturday afternoon. Highs only in the 40s and 50s, Lubbock, Amarillo. And then Saturday night to Sunday, it'll get colder with the heart of that cold air coming in. We need rain. We're not going to get it. We continue drier than normal, looking out a bit further, the 25th of February into March the 1st. Wetter than normal out west, so the dry conditions across a large part of the state are set to continue. That's where we stand, Texas.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at germaniainsurance.com.
I'm Cynthia Aguirre in Dallas with a look at your North Texas headlines. With early voting now underway, one of the many races we're keeping an eye on is District 30, the seat held by Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Brittany Moncrief introduces us to the three candidates vying for that position.
With the primaries in full swing, there's three Democrats gunning for the Texas House 30th District congressional seat. Barbara Mallory Caraway.
I have the most legislative experience.
Dr. Frederick Haynes III.
I've spent 40 plus years in public service.
And Rodney LaBruce.
I'm not only the bullhorn, but I'm also the architect.
After last year's redistricting, the seat, currently held by Jasmine Crockett, now includes parts of Arlington and central and southern Dallas County. And a major focus for Cedar Hill pastor Rodney LaBruce.
Ending poverty, not managing it. We want to raise the level of income across the board so that people can afford health care no matter how much it costs. People can afford housing no matter how much it costs.
Affordability is also on the minds of Caraway, who's previously served as state representative and Dallas City Council member, and Friendship West senior pastor Frederick Haynes.
Too many Americans do not have the ability to afford child care. We have to make sure that wages go up and that we freeze the cost of living.
Come up with a budget as well in working with local entities to make sure that we can address poverty, income inequality, health care, as well as education.
There's also immigration and the controversy surrounding ICE.
I'm calling for not only the abolition of ICE, I'm for a comprehensive immigration reform that allows for pathways to citizenship.
We need to put either limitations, funding limitations on these agencies, or get rid of them altogether.
I'm just exhausted myself about what's going on in our country. We do need comprehensive immigration reform.
And with candidates vowing to fight for these issues, it's ultimately the voters who will have the last say. In southern Dallas County, I'm Brittany Moncrief.
Whoever wins in the Democratic primary will go against one of four Republican candidates running in the primary: Sheldon Daniels, Gregorio Heisey, Everett Jackson, and Niels Walker. As North Texas keeps growing, so does the traffic. Brittany Costello shares the new plans in the works to ease the gridlock off I-30 in Tarrant County.
Traffic.
Everywhere is just kind of busy right now.
Is part of the daily commute.
Terrible. It's bad.
Chris Sellers will tell you it's even busier when there's construction.
I'm going to be sitting here for a while.
But there is light at the end of the bridge.
Where that traffic is passing there in the horizon, that's where everything will merge.
At least for this nearly complete new direct connection from South I-20 to West I-30 toward Aledo.
We're probably still several months out from having traffic flow across this bridge.
But the construction along the way is the focus for the Association of General Contractors chief economist Ken Simonson.
The DFW area has added more new construction jobs during the past 5 years than any other metro area in the country.
He says Dallas-Fort Worth has added 47,000 construction jobs over the last 5 years with the help of projects like this one. just a piece of a $267 million TxDOT project.
Projects like this one represent growth and opportunity for workers, businesses, and for the communities that surround projects like this.
Clint Henson with Zachary Construction worries the money to finish this massive project could get tied up in Washington, D.C. It's why they are pushing Congress for a new highway and transit funding bill by September.
Gridlock on Capitol Hill could lead to more gridlock on the region's roads.
They need federal dollars for projects like this one.
The hope is you can just get down the road and do what you have to do safely
to keep traffic in DFW moving.
I'm just keeping my fingers crossed and hoping for the best.
In Fort Worth, I'm Brittany Costello.
The University of North Texas just revealed a major budget deficit. The university already faced a $31 million shortfall, but now UNT expects to be short another $15 million. UNT has lost a lot of state funding and has seen its international student population cut nearly in half this year. One office in Dallas County touches nearly every aspect of residents' lives: birth certificates, marriage licenses, and every election in between. As Richard Solomon reports, John Warren led the office for years while making history of his own.
There are many beats to a thriving city. Different rhythms, moving parts that have to stay in sync. And at the Dallas County Records Building,
we actually have our hands on the pulse of society.
You'll find one of the city's quiet conductors.
Growing up, did you ever think you'd be sitting in this seat?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
For nearly 2 decades, the Honorable John Warren has held the seat of Dallas County Clerk. He's the first black clerk in the county's history.
I still have an obligation to make sure that when I leave this office, I leave it better than I found it. That's what makes me being the first important.
Now that chapter is nearing its final note, and at the end of his term in December, Warren is not seeking re-election.
I think I've done all that I can helping Dallas County change as a whole.
The office he's leaving is one many people don't fully understand, but one that touches nearly every life in this county.
How are you, sir? All right, sir. Okay.
From the moment someone is born to the day a marriage becomes official.
There's a kiosk right here. So just put that in and then go down to the far end and they'll call your name.
To elections that shape local leadership, Warren's office keeps the records that hold the county together.
It's so intriguing and complex, and it's not as simple as what people will think.
Born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, he once dreamed of becoming a lawyer. Instead, he found himself helping set the rhythm of a city, modernizing county offices with new technology, improving customer service, saving taxpayer dollars, and leading the move to paperless courts.
So I maintain these books here.
But his proudest accomplishment reaches deeper than just technology.
Being a black man, I know that there are slave records in Dallas County. One black boy, $300. One black woman, $350.
A reminder that the records of the past.
And then one man, Clifton, who is 17, young man, $500.
Are all part of the same tune that shapes history. These right here are probate inventories of slaves.
We were not individuals, we were property. It would be a crime if I ignored this.
African American people have been here forever.
And as Commissioner John Wiley Price points out, it's important to remember that history while continuing to create it. Price, the first black member of the Dallas County Commissioner's Court, reflects on his colleague's legacy.
He was able to employ and deploy technology that advanced the department.
All those transactions happen here.
While Warren leaves office, he'll embark on a different journey, mentoring the next generation, showing them the history that's left to make.
I tell them that the only person that's going to stand in your way is the person that you see in the mirror every day.
Because being the first is only the beginning of showing others what they can achieve. In Dallas, I'm Richard Solomon.
And those are your headlines from North Texas.
Here's your headlines from Southeast Texas. I'm Mark Armstrong. 12 News is your election headquarters. Early voting, it's underway for those March primary elections. Voters are going to decide which candidates are going to advance to the November elections. Politicians from across the aisle, they are encouraging voters to head to the polls right now for early voting. Governor Abbott, he even stopped in Beaumont this week for a Get Out the Vote event with a few other Republicans vying for state office with him as well. Now, hundreds gathered at Madison's for the rally, from members of local law enforcement to city leaders. 12 News reporter Spencer Plato, she was there.
All the issues that Governor Abbott spoke of is right on point.
Supporters rallied to hear from Republican candidates up and down the ballot, from Governor Greg Abbott, Agriculture Commissioner candidate Nate Sheets, and State House candidate Ray Callis. Callis, facing Democrat Jackie Hernandez in November, emphasized economy.
We are the engine that drives not only Texas but the world. We are big in petrochemical, we're big in the ports, we're big in the railways, we're also very big in taking care of the trade schools. We have so much growth and development.
Agriculture Commissioner candidate Nate Sheets addressed challenges facing farmers across the state, even here at home.
It really doesn't matter whether you're in cotton or whether you're in cattle, whether you're in corn or rice. Everybody's really in the same state. You know, when your input costs have gone up 300%, when your revenues come down so significantly, they're desperate. They've lost options.
Governor Abbott, who faces a crowded Republican primary, is likely to face Democrat Gina Hinojosa in November. Abbott is leading a recent University of Houston poll 49% to 42% among likely voters. He urged voters to protect what he calls Texas values.
We have one collective goal today, every day, but especially in this election, in the primaries and in the general election. We have to keep Texas, Texas, and stop the invasion of all these foreign ideas.
Candidates say turnout will be key in the weeks ahead.
Get out and vote, because if you don't vote, you're not making a difference. Every American, every Texan should be voting.
That was Spencer Plato reporting. The event also brought emotional testimony from Beaumont mother Beverly Adams. Her son, Brian Lewis, was killed while mowing his lawn last June. Adams thanked Governor Abbott Wednesday for new legislation that is working to keep violent offenders detained.
I really appreciate the bill that they're trying to pass.
No, it's passed.
Well, the bill that they passed for my son. And I was told by my pastor that everything that my son touched that was turned into gold.
Brian Lewis, he was allegedly shot and killed by a former friend at his home on Delaware Street. Community leaders and guests, they also gathered for a Republican mixer Wednesday night. A state comptroller candidate and 4 legislative candidates representing Jefferson County were there. Now, guests heard from State Representative Christian Manuel, he's a Democrat, Dr. Ray Callis, Trent Ashby, and Brent Lejeune. Now, each discussed priorities facing the region and in the importance of local representation at the state level. 12 News spoke with Texas Senate candidate Trent Ashby, who says that Southeast Texas is his priority.
Southeast Texas is such a critical part of our state and national economy. And so I've had the great fortune to spend time on this campaign trail, not just in Jefferson County, but across Southeast Texas, learning what is so important to the people that are blessed to call this area home.
Ashby, he's running against Rhonda Ward for the District 3 Senate seats. And those were the headlines from Southeast Texas.
I'm Bailey Bates. Here are your headlines from Central Texas. Waco's first nationally syndicated television show is heading back to where it all began. The Texas Music Cafe is celebrating 29 years by returning to its original home on Franklin Avenue. Our Adrian Carvajal spoke with one of the founders to hear more about the deep history of the cafe and where they look to go from here.
It started in 1997 on Franklin Avenue in Waco. A small group of musicians created Texas Music Cafe to give artists a place to be heard.
It was started with the mission of helping artists of all different types, basically fertile soil for artists of any type to gather and work together to create something.
What began as one pilot episode quickly reached 94 million homes nationwide. Over the years, more than 5,000 artists took the stage, including future Grammy winners.
We were the first people to put Pat Green on television. Some of the first people to put Ruthie Foster, a 2026 Grammy Award winner. About 5 Grammy Award winners this last year have graced this stage at some point.
Now the nonprofit has also become a historic archive, preserving nearly 10,000 hours of Texas music.
At about 10,000 hours of video and audio footage. A lot of those musicians are dead and gone, so we've become an important historic archive in the state of Texas.
And it's not just about the past, it's also about community.
From the audience to the musicians on stage to the people working in our crew, it really feels like a big living room where everybody gets together and has a great time every time we do it. The music is always good. And that is a hard thing to find, that sense of community.
Next year marks 30 years with plans for a major reunion concert and a passing of the torch to the next generation.
It's probably hard for young people to even imagine, but when we launched Texas Music Cafe, finding music on the internet was not even a thing. It wasn't out there. It's always original, it's always handcrafted, it's always unique, and it is always from the heart.
Weekly performances will now be held in an intimate listening room setting in Waco from 8 to 10 p.m. A new grocery store is set to open in China Spring, which is effectively a food desert, and the story behind it is as meaningful as the mission. 6 News reporter Juliana Jackson has more on the store filling a need in the community and honoring a life lost too soon.
Living in China Spring and need groceries? Before, shoppers had two options: drive about 20 minutes outside of town or settle with what they could find. For some families, that gap hit hard. After retiring from the Navy, Rory Miller knew there was a need.
We thought, what does this community need? What is the gap here? What would bring so much joy to this community?
The answer came through finding the right way to honor her son.
I had a stillbirth in 2018. And I have since then been trying to figure out what to do to honor him, and this was the perfect kind of idea that I could mix in God, my son, and the community and create the grocery store and name it after my son, Jace.
Inside the store, fresh and organic produce takes center stage. Local vendors line the walls, each with their own display and their own story.
It also supports local vendors and other people's businesses. You know, the goal is for them to grow and create their own business someday. So I would love to see that too. So.
The goal here at Jace's is to make sure that everyone has access to healthy and affordable foods at their grocery store.
You know, they got the fresh produce, they can walk in, they can feel it's like homey, family, like my brother's next door, the pharmacy.
A store that carries her son's name and her family's heart on every single shelf.
Bring the best, customer service as well, and that they can come in and just get clean, healthy products to support their family.
Juliana Jackson, 6 News.
A great thing she is doing, such an important resource for that community. Those are your headlines from Central Texas.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at germaniainsurance.com.
I'm Henry Ramos, and this is the news in San Antonio. Several school districts in South Texas are on high alert after being targeted in a series of swatting or bombing calls. Some schools went into lockdown and one canceled school for the day. Earl Sedemeyer reports.
Uvalde CISD, Bernie ISD, Comfort ISD, and Sturt-Cibolo Universal City ISD all received similar threats via voicemail of multiple bombs being placed on their campuses. Now, a beefed-up security presence will be at some of their locations. Sturt-Cibolo Universal City ISD said the threat was left on their phone line at Steele High School Tuesday night at 11:06 p.m. When staff got to the school, they reported it to Cibolo PD at 7:38 a.m. Multiple agencies responded to evacuate and do a thorough sweep of the school. Out of abundance, Steele High School canceled school for the day. For additional security, Cibolo PD had extra officers on campus today before the start of school. Uvalde CISD says they received their threat on their main district line. The district says it didn't focus on a specific school, but they immediately took action, working with Uvalde PD in the South Texas Fusion Center. The district says Uvalde police will increase their patrols throughout the community. In Kendall County, Bernie High School and Comfort High School were targeted. Bernie PD says they got calls for the threat at 7:45 Wednesday morning. It took them an hour to evacuate and sweep the building, finding no bomb. The school was able to open and resume operations. Bernie Police Chief Steve Perez says they're launching a criminal investigation to find who made this threat. Later in the day, Comfort High School received a bomb call at 12:05 p.m. The district put all of their campuses on lockdown. A sweep was done at the high school, and the district said it was safe to continue classes at 1:51 p.m. The district says the threat is part of a national swatting hoax. In response, Comfort ISD is providing extra counseling today for anyone needing support. All of these districts are urging everyone to stay alert and report any suspicious activity to police. Earl Stoudemire, KENS 5.
And with those school bomb threats this week, the Atascosa County community is marking the arrival of a brand new form of classroom security. They call the device a mobile ballistic shield. The money that made the purchase possible was quickly raised in the community. Sue Kalberg has an exclusive look.
This sign has been here a while. In Jourdanton, they will use whatever force is necessary to protect their kids, but now they are taking it up a notch.
If you think about it, every school has booster clubs, and that's what this is.
Chris Morlock led the fundraising effort, and in no time they had more than $70,000. You didn't twist anybody's arm?
No.
Enough to outfit every single district in Atascosa County, so all the Aggies and Indians, Pirates and Trojans and Eagles will be safer. The shields allow officers to breach doors, provide trauma care, and rescue victims without risking their own lives.
There's no danger to the officer, essentially very little danger to the officer that's behind this as he goes through a doorway.
You'd never know it was 300 pounds, would you?
Let me just tell you, I have chill bumps as we stand here. It's extremely special. The fact that they would come out and take care of our kids.
Are you ready to take it for a test drive?
Absolutely.
Is your greatest prayer that you never have to use it?
Absolutely. If it just stands around in decoration, so be it.
At KENS5.com, you'll find a link where you can learn more about this life-saving tool. In Jourdanton, Sue Kalberg, KENS 5.
San Antonio leaders are preparing for a rare and high-stakes conversation. City Council will have a special meeting to discuss concerns related to Mayor Gina Ortiz-Jones. The city announced they'll meet Monday to discuss the potential censure. Rania Kaur explains.
The push for the special meeting comes after several city council members raised questions about the mayor's conduct, setting the stage for a rare discussion here at City Hall. This comes after 5 city council members submitted a memo calling for a possible censure vote against the mayor, pointing to, quote, repeated instances of unprofessional conduct. The claims go back as far as last summer, but the most recent, according to a memo, points to a February 5th incident involving District 1 Councilmember Secor. Councilwoman Phyllis Villagran for District 3 told KENS 5 that it involved an agenda item regarding downtown's Bonham Exchange and whether the historic gay nightclub could stay open despite missing a deadline to install required fire sprinklers. Following the announcement of the special meeting, Councilwoman Marina Alderete Gavito of District 7 said Monday's meeting, quote, is an opportunity to reaffirm that City Hall is a professional work environment. That special meeting starts at 10 a.m. this upcoming Monday. City Council leaders have said that this meeting will be a discussion and no action will be taken. For context, the last time a sitting mayor was called for a possible censure vote was back in 1970 with Mayor William McAllister. Of course, we'll be following this story from City Hall. Rania Kaur, KENS 5.
UTSA baseball was 2 wins away from the College World Series last year, and they hope to be even better this year. They'll get an early season test this weekend, hosting undefeated Dallas Baptist. Benny Vincetta has a preview.
Yeah, UTSA scoring runs and wins early in the season, 4-0 to start, averaging 13 runs per game. And now this weekend, a huge early season test. Fellow undefeated 4-0 Dallas Baptist coming to San Antonio. 3 for the weekend right here at the Bird Bath.
It's a measuring stick, and for me personally, to see where we're at. They're gonna exploit any weakness. It's a wonderful series for that. We'll know where we're at after we play DBU. I still think DBU's in a little better place than we are. Frankly, I don't mind saying that. That doesn't mean we can't beat them now.
I think it's a good test for us. I mean, we're starting off the year 4-0, but I mean, I think this Friday, Saturday, Sunday series is definitely going to be the test for us.
Got a lot of respect for those guys over there. I know that they're a very solid team. Good approaches, good arms on the mound. They're a very solid all-around team, so we're looking forward to it. It's a little adversity, but I'm excited to see how we match up.
They're a very good team. I think we're a good team, but we'll see.
All right, Friday 4 p.m., Saturday 2 p.m., Sunday 1 p.m. right here at the ballpark. UTSA 4-0 for the first time in 13 years. Let's keep that going. On campus, Birds Up, Vinny Vanzetta, KENS 5.
And that is the news in San Antonio.
Hi, I'm Leslie Adamy in Corpus Christi, and here's a look at some of what's happening in South Texas. The city of Corpus Christi is now looking at building its Inner Harbor desalination plant at a cost of $978 million. You may recall last year, City Council decided to have Kiewit stop all work on the project after the estimated cost at 10% design build ballooned to $1.3 billion. We asked City Manager Peter Zanoni if the new estimate is going to hold or if it is also going to shoot up in price.
So they're confident that that's going to be a good number. They also have alternatives lined up so that if pricing comes in higher, you can trigger some of those alternatives that bring price down.
Now, the estimate came from the Corpus Christi Desal Partners for the design and construction of a desal plant. Council members will take a look at the proposal when they meet again next week. And just days after a unanimous vote awarding a construction contract for a new pool on Corpus Christi's north side, 2 city council members are now asking for a second look. The $8.7 million North Side Aquatic Center, a project meant to replace the old TC Ayers pool, is now back in question. The original pool was torn down for the new Harbor Bridge construction, and rebuilding it is part of a federally required mitigation agreement tied to that project. Now, tonight, Councilman Eric Ganthu tells 3 News that he, along with Councilwoman Carolyn Vaughn, have filed a motion to reconsider Tuesday's vote.
The public thinks we're building a pool in the middle of a drought, and you can't change your mind. And I understand that because they don't trust city leaders because of all the stuff that's going on with the water. So I want to take my vote back and say no to it and put it to a later date when we do have water, when it makes sense to build a pool.
City officials have said that the pool must be built as part of the final demolition of the old Harbor Bridge, making the project a legal and federal obligation. Ganthu went on to say that he believes a different project could be done to fulfill that contract and use less water. The motion to reconsider has been placed on the agenda for Tuesday's City Council meeting. And North Beach could soon look very different as city leaders plan a major project to widen the shoreline after years of severe erosion. People who work at a business that sits right across from the heavily eroded beach say the project helps them fight back floodwaters and promote tourism, something they say is a lifeline for those who work here. Our Josh Maxwell has the story.
This is what North Beach looked like back in 2022. This is what it looks like today. A shoreline that's lost much of its sand to erosion. Now, the city of Corpus Christi is looking to rebuild it through a beach renourishment program, which would add around 80 cubic yards of sand back to the beach.
If it continues to erode, it's gonna come too far, and it's going to mess up a lot of things here.
Thomas Everingham is the assistant manager at Palace Beachwear that sits directly across from what used to be the North Beach shoreline. He says as the sand has disappeared, the impact on their business has been hard to miss.
Is it will flood the roadways. It will actually flood our entire shark here.
But it's not just about flooding. The shoreline also acts as a main attraction for those coming in from out of town. An economic driver, Everingham says he wants to see come back before the tourism season.
The Lexington herself, to the aquarium and the hotels here, we all depend on those yearly numbers. And without those yearly numbers, we wouldn't be able to make it. And we've been here 25 years doing that.
Corpus Christi at-large Councilman Roland Barrera says the project could be funded by a grant from the Texas General Land Office. A resource he says could save the city $6 million.
Because of the challenges that we've had with the weather and hurricanes that we've been through, we qualify for a zero match. So with that, 100% can be funded by the General Land Office.
It's an opportunity Barrera says he's never witnessed before and hopes the city gets approved for.
Not in the 7 years that I've been on the council. I've never seen anything like this. So this is monumental. It's a great deal.
That was our Josh Maxwell with that report. Now, Councilman Barrera adds that the city has not been notified yet on the final funding amount. And once that happens, he says the goal is to move forward with the project before the very busy summer tourism season here in Corpus Christi. And that's a quick look at some of what's happening here in South Texas.
Hi, I'm Brennan Gurley, and here's what's making headlines across East Texas. There's a new name at the helm of the Winsboro ISD Police Department. This comes after district leaders held a regular school board meeting to discuss the future of the department. CBS 19's Robert De La Garza was at that meeting where the decision was made and has an update.
That meeting wrapped up earlier Wednesday evening, and on the agenda, the Winsboro ISD School Board took up several items, including hiring a new police chief, and the school board unanimously voted 6-0 to hire Greg Hollingsworth for that role.
Hollingsworth is the WISD police chief.
Second. Motion is second. All those in favor show of hands. Motion carries 6-0.
The move comes after the district's former police chief, Heath Guy, was placed on administrative leave and later terminated amid investigations involving Winsboro ISD leadership. Those investigations have already led to the arrest of Superintendent Aaron Nation, who remains on administrative leave, and former Superintendent Brian David Wilcox, both accused in a case involving alleged failures to report multiple incidents of child abuse.
Again, I'm not happy that the previous chief was let go. I'm still not certain about the reasons behind that, and I don't like that we don't know. But that is a given. I think this choice was a good one, and seems like it'll be a good way to move forward.
Wednesday, the district also touched on their decision last week to cancel their current contract with LifeTouch following alleged connections involving their parent company's former CEO being mentioned in newly released Epstein files. The district wrote in a statement, the district is actively seeking a new photography provider. Parents will be notified once spring pictures are rescheduled. In his first board meeting since being appointed interim superintendent, Jeff Conovan explained why the district decided to cut ties with LifeTouch.
So our attendance was not going to be good. We were going to have this past Monday pictures at the elementary school. And I talked to the principal, it didn't look like there was going to be many people show up. So I think between the rumors, whether it found it or not, and the absences of missing pictures, that was the right decision to make.
So I did reach out to the district before and after Wednesday's meeting, including interim superintendent and several board members for comment, but they all declined interviews. I spoke to parents who say that they feel like the district is moving in the right direction, but past baggage still worries them, and they would like to see more change within the board. Reporting in Winsboro, Robert De La Garza, CBS 19.
While temperatures are warming up, gardening experts say East Texans shouldn't rush into spring planting just yet. CBS 19's Jamie Hazard spoke with a nursery owner and a master gardener about how plants reacted during the freeze and what you need to know moving forward.
After days of freezing temperatures, gardeners across East Texas are stepping outside to assess the damage. At Breedlove Nursery in Tyler, owner Paul Breedlove says preparation made all the difference.
The inventory was not severely impacted because we did some measures to protect it.
Breedlove says plants that were still dormant handled the cold much better. The biggest concern? Anything already pushing new growth.
So if they're dormant, which everything was dormant when the big freeze came, there was less damage. But if you had things that were above ground in pots, the roots are more exposed, so they would be apt to be hurt.
Now that temperatures are climbing, customers are asking one big question. Is spring arriving too soon?
The general concern is spring coming too early? Therefore, if a freeze comes later, would things be more tender with new growth and therefore get damaged?
Breedlove says don't let the warm days fool you. Delicate bedding plants should wait until after Easter, typically late March or early April, before going in the ground. Over in Smith County, master gardener Belinda Cormer says this freezing was significant, but not devastating.
Wasn't anything like Snowmageddon and the past really harsh freezes. I think the ice, at least here in Lindale, insulated a lot of the plants.
She says in many gardens, damage has been minimal, but patience is critical.
When you see damage on your plants, the first thing you want to do is whack them down or dig them up, and don't do that.
And if your plants look brown or wilted?
No, it's not too late. We're just now warming up. Give them time, patience.
Both experts agree East Texas weather is unpredictable. The best tools gardeners have right now are preparation and patience.
That was Jamie Hazard reporting, and that's a wrap for East Texas headlines. I'm Brennan Gurley.
Texas News Now is sponsored by Germania Insurance.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at germaniainsurance.com.